So hello everyone. I'm out for another gorgeous ride. The sun is coming down. But yeah, that's the big old Texas sun. Alright, well I know it's not really in Texas, but that's our sky, that's our beautiful sunset. Probably won't look anything except for a little bit of a light on the film itself. I'm still testing out this camera. I hope that the tilt is right on it. So, I just got off of work a little while ago and it was such a nice day. I just wanted to get out here and but I do get to work from home, and which is really nice and it has its perks, but you don't get outside very much either unless you go outside. But I like to have things to do. It's not just staying at home, because I don't want to be like a total homebody. I took a part-time job for a little while because I thought that's what I needed, and I had fun with it. But it kind of sucked working 7 days a week, and I never had any days off. And I could have counted that job as my days off, and I was just out on my days off having a good time, but no, it just didn't cut it for a while there. So riding is a good excuse to have something to do. I have a dog, and I wish she would ride with me. When I first got her, she had no choice but to ride with me because I put her inside my jacket and brought her home with me. Which, I think even today she still remembers that, and but I don't think I'm going to ever get her on this bike like you see on some of those other videos where people have their dogs riding with them, or even their cat. I saw one with a cat one time and that just cracked me up. But not my dog and not my cats. They're either too crazy or they're too normal. I don't know what the difference is, but it's sad because, you know, I'd love to have her with me, but I don't think we're going to do that unless we get like a sidecar. And I'm not putting a sidecar on this bike. No, and if I get a sidecar, it'll be on a different bike. But plus, those are kind of expensive anyway, so, you know, alas, you may never ride with us, but if I happen to get another dog, it's going to be the smallest dog in the planet that I can put in a doggy backpack, and I can bring her with me. At least I'll try, because you never know how that animal's going to feel. I mean, if she's terrified beyond terrified, I'm not going to make her do something she doesn't want to do. But I was thinking if it was a small dog, I could carry her around in a purse they make for dogs and stuff, you know. But that's just all wishful thinking right now. You never know what's going to happen till it happens, so. Sometimes you think your dog just wants to be with you, but it's a little bit more than that. They have stipulations. They're like, yeah, I'll be with you, but not on that thing. In fact, why don't you just like stay home with me? Look how fast he's going up to the end of that road. That's what they do here in Texas. They go like 100 miles an hour and then slam on the brakes. And then they go 100 miles an hour and then they slam on the brakes. Well, it's interesting because I want to buy a Jeep as my next vehicle, just to have, you know, because you can't always be on a bike. I mean, sometimes you want to go someplace and bring your bikes. It's not practical to ride your bike everywhere, even though I would tell you, I'll ride everywhere on my bike. I don't care. I don't need a car. But no, you need a car. And we want a car that's capable of towing our bikes, to other states, and then we can ride around in that state. So I was looking at a Jeep, and it's funny because now on this particular ride, I'm seeing all these Jeeps for sale. I'm gonna have to let my my husband know about that. Maybe there's a good price around here. Who knows? Those things aren't the cheapest things on the planet, but they're reasonable. I've seen worse. But wow, the temperature's perfect out here right now, and as the sun came down, and so we had to make a ride up to Arkansas last weekend and we had to do it in one day, and that's like a 4-hour ride for us. But unfortunately, we couldn't take the bikes. We had to bring the car. And it's a little different when you get in a car from being on a bike. So you want to ride that car or drive the car like you ride your bike, and it's just so different. But if there's anything that riding my bike has taught me, it's to ride defensively. I mean, not ride aggressively. And sometimes you have to be aggressive to get yourself out of a situation. But you don't want to provoke situations either. I mean, you want to just, stay back your distance. You want to be always looking for what's up ahead of you. And you learn all this stuff in motorcycle class, but in a car, it's just different. And when you try to drive your car like you ride your motorcycle, you find it's pretty different. Like you can't take 3 different parts of the lane like you do in your bike. Like I could be over here on the right hand side where I tend to float. You can come over here in the middle, which is a little bit, I don't really prefer the middle because that's where cars don't ride, and there could be all kinds of crap in the middle. Or you generally can come over here to the left, which is where I probably should be most of the time. But the reason I ride to the right is because I usually ride with Jim, and he's usually in the left-hand lane and I sit in the right-hand lane. So, and the reason we do that is just because you want to stagger yourself just in case of some horrible accident, and you don't want to ride over someone and it just covers the entire lane. But in cars you can't do that. I mean, you have to stay pretty much in the middle of the lane with your tires on the 2 sides, so when you get in a car and you've been riding your bike for a while, it can be kind of comical. Now I rode on the way over, I drove, and I know my husband was pretty good about not saying anything, but in my car, I tend to hug way over here on the left-hand side. And there's a freakishly huge section over there on the right of road. But when I was following Jim home, because he was in another car on the way home, that's why we went up there, he rides and hugs the right-hand side. So it was kind of funny. We were staggering each other even in our cars. So I found that was pretty comical. But when I'm by myself, there's no reason for me to be way over there on the right-hand side, so I'm going to try to get used to riding over here on the left-hand side. But if my mind numbs out and I end up floating over there on the right-hand side, then that's just because I'm zoned out. But yeah, there's all those bales of hay. I don't know, I'm talking about stuff hoping you can see it when I say it, but there's a good chance that the camera's not even looking in that direction, so you'll be like, what hay? Hey, hey. But that's how you tell when you're about to come up into the town, is because the speed limit goes down. Plus it just says Greenville right there, but yeah, the speed limit goes down. But yeah, riding in a car is so much different. And sometimes you feel a little confined in a car after being on a bike for a long time, but they do have their purposes, and I'm not opposed to riding in cars. I mean, sometimes you have to. I mean, we've tried to ride just our bikes, but that can be a little expensive too. That's the other downside of just riding your bike, because you know the tires wear out a lot faster on your bikes than they do on your cars, because you've got 4 tires evening out the load than 2. So I mean, you can go through tires like butter, and they're expensive. They're not like the cheapest things in the world. You can get the cheapest bike tires and pay a lot more than a car. So that's one of the biggest things, is just the expense and the wear and tear on your bike. And you might save a lot of gas mileage, but even that's debatable. I mean, some cars can save just as much as a bike. So a lot of people will say that maybe bikes are a little bit cheaper than cars, and maybe that's true with the gas mileage, but when you look at all of the expense of just upkeeping the bike so that it's rideable every day, if you're going to ride it every day, it's expensive. It's more expensive. I had a brand new tire, and then it went flat within a couple of days because there's so much debris on the road sometimes, and you just don't know when you're gonna have to plug your tire. And so I'm just saying it's a little pricey. So there's practical applications for taking your car out sometimes. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to end it right around here. That was a nice little ride today, and I will keep at it because I really enjoy doing this. And if you have any questions or comments, just let me know, and y'all have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.